Well, if you're like me, traffic can be the absolute bane of your life, where you have these complicated road junctions. You've got trams, you've got bikes, you've got pedestrians, you've got cars backing up as far as the eye can see, and you miss traffic light enhancement. It's the mod that I just love to use and tinker with and play with all of the tools that it has. But good news, it's back. BruceyBoy has released a fix literally just earlier on today for this mod, and I just had to dive in and use it in Teasmania. And even better, I had no idea that there's now phase control in there, so custom phases that you can put together yourself on top of the pre-built phases and things it comes with. So in this video, we're going to see everything that the mod includes. We're going to stop things happening like this, where everybody just sat at a traffic light looking at each other. And hopefully we'll be able to once and for all get hold of the traffic here in Teasmania, and this will be some sort of guide for you as well. This is actually traffic running at 8 times speed. It's just so bad. Any minute now I'm waiting for something to despawn so the game can continue, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So let's dive into the newly updated and working in the latest version of the game Traffic Light Enhancement mod. Right, the aim for the end of this video is to fix all this disaster here that keeps backing up. I mean, the game is running. The traffic is so bad down here, it's a complete disaster. But to see how this mod works, we're going to fly all the way around here. Here we go. This is the junction I'm looking for. So there is basic traffic lights on there. So what I'm going to do, just to start us off, we're going to remove those. So we're going to pick that, right click. You could use this as well and right click, but that's the way I'm going to do it. So as it stands, we've got stop signs, give way signs, yield signs, whatever you want to call them. So if we click on here and click on there we go. We've added a traffic light to that. So the first one is vanilla. That's how it's going to work. We can save that. There we go. And if we click on there and run it, this will just run in the vanilla way. And every time a phase changes, there we go, it shows you the lights. So what we're seeing here, if I just pause this, is people are crossing, cars are also coming, which way is that road going? Cars are also going down while people are crossing, and cars are also going straight across and straight across. So you can see in the vanilla setup of traffic lights, here we go. So cars are going to turn left while others are going straight over. That is where most of the traffic problems are caused in vanilla. At the very least, I would hope that maybe they add to the basic game the choice of vanilla and split phasing, and then mods like this add all the other amazing stuff I'm going to show you, which we're going to get to. So that's how it's going to work in vanilla. So if we keep that one running on, you've got cars getting confused because I've just added these lights, but there we go. They're all going to go over any minute now. There we go. The phase is going to change. So that phase isn't too bad because it's not a four-way junction per se. This is only a one-way road down the bottom here, and then it changes again. So you've basically got those two phases to make it work. So that's not too bad, but you can see where there are problems with that. Split phasing. Let me find a proper four-way junction to show that a bit better. Actually, here's a much more complicated four-way junction. So you can see already, this is the vanilla, that you've got loads of options for cars to cross over other traffic, get in each other's way. They'll start slowing these down. Yeah, look, there we go. We can see that's all happening because it just basically sends the top and the bottom and then the left and the right, and it generally just does that over and over again and gets... See, these aren't going now because they're in the way, so that sort of helped with no cars crossing over, but through that no good design of a traffic light. But anyway, that's the vanilla one. The option that we get here is split phasing, so we're going to change that one now. And we're going to run this again. So what we're getting here is only this route is going. So we'll leave that one running. Now only this one's going. That was interesting. Nothing could go straight on. Because both of those lanes there have straight on options, they didn't even let anybody turn right, which they could have done. But maybe all of these, or maybe at least that bike at the front wants to go straight on. It blocked everything else. That's why you want dedicated lanes, people. But now, yeah, this one. So this one went. Now this one's going. And then very soon it'll be this one. I'm guessing it's going to go in order when that's all done. Here it goes. They're going through. A couple are going through here as well. Oh, we're back to here. Now this one over here. Yeah, that's it. It's this one with some lefts going. That's what it is. Now it's switching back. It seems to be missing this one out down here. Is that because... Yeah, nobody can go, but you get the idea with split phasing. It does change the way vanilla works. It is better, but when your traffic starts backing up, you're going to get all sorts of problems anyway. So that's where that goes. You've got the option of protected left-hand turns, which we can then add that into the cycle. So that's just going to help things go a little bit better if people are coming down and trying to turn left. So I think the next route we're going to get, here we go, protected left turns, protected left turn. So in the next phase, we got that. And then we get down to custom phases. And this is where I really want to have a look at that one. Let's try the allow turning on red as well. So I'm guessing that's the blue lines that have now shown up. So technically that's, yeah, this one here, but I reckon they want to go straight over. So they're blocking everybody behind them. So that's why you'd have dedicated lanes. There we go, look, they went straight over. So you get the idea. Exclusive pedestrian phase, that's pretty obvious. We've got no crossings here. So what I might just do, just to show that, I might just add those in. So in vanilla, that's another thing. They will cross when, let's just run that as split phasing and we'll see, or even vanilla. Let's just do vanilla, turn that one off. And you can see when the crossing is allowed. So it's not allowed at the moment. This one is, that one is, and that one is. And there are cars going. So yeah, cars are going when people are trying to cross. It's all a bit of a disaster. So where were we up to? Protected left, turning on red, exclusive pedestrian phase. I'm going to up that to like 2. So you'll get the turning, you got the protected red, protected lefts on red. And there we go. That's all you got was the crossing. There wasn't many to cross, so that went by quite quickly, but already we can see how much better this is. And also it really just goes to highlight when you can watch these lines and what's going when, why dedicated turning lanes are so good, because this one was backed up for so long because people in it were trying to go straight over and it was blocking anybody that wanted to turn right. But look, very quickly that's gone down. So even just going as far as using those options in your city can be good. And you might not want to use all of these. I don't always have allow turning on red. I usually just go for split phasing and exclusive pedestrian phase. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, that could be all your junction needs. So what you would do after setting that up however you wanted it is you'd click save, and that's that. That's good. What I quite like about this as well, if we go into here, let's just say you accidentally remove that traffic light. You haven't lost all of your settings, which is great. So we can go back here, left click, and it's still set up like before. So it remembers it, which is fantastic. And you can reinsert that again without rebuilding it at all. And that counts for all the complicated custom phases that we're going to get to as well. So what you can see now, the benefit above vanilla traffic lights is you can have crossings right on your junctions. I mean, I'm forever removing them from junctions and intersections like this because it's just nuts trying to have people cross the road. There's cars turning, cars getting in the way. That's why I use roundabouts so often, because even though they're not always great for huge amounts of traffic, they keep it moving, and depending on how your road's set up, it just stops cars getting in each other's way. There's no conflicts. Generally speaking, there shouldn't be on a roundabout. I know that's not always true, but that's why. But now suddenly, just with split phasing, exclusive pedestrian phase, if that was in vanilla, I think half the problems we have with traffic lights would be gone. But we have the custom phases, and this absolutely, to say it makes my heart sing, I know that might sound like an overreaction, but I love this sort of stuff. So let's just take a look at the custom phases. We're going to pick an easier junction. I'm going to save that one and leave it as it is. We're going to pick an easier junction first. This one over here. There we go. Look, you can see I've played with this one before. It's got a tram going through it. It's got bikes. It's only a 3-way junction, but it'll just help us to understand it a little bit better. Oh, just one more thing before we dive into anything more complicated. There is a built-in setting in the options for traffic light enhancement. So we've got that one selected there, that you can have the default as all of your lights as split phasing. You can turn that on or off, turning on red, and exclusive pedestrian phase, and it forces all nodes to update. So it says there, top right, force all nodes, road junctions to update, applying the default settings in this mod to all traffic lights without a custom configuration. This feature is only available after a city is loaded. So it won't mess with any junctions where you have no traffic lights or you've got custom ones, but you can literally transform your city with those options. And I think you click on that, just give it a minute or two to run through, and it will do that, which is fantastic. You've also got compatibility mode. I haven't tested that. You can read it top right as what it says there, but that might be something if you're using other traffic control mods as well. Okay, let's have a look at custom phases. And we're back in the game. Okay, so we'll select the icon, click on this one here. This is set to vanilla at the moment. We'll select custom phase and custom phase editor. Then you're faced with this screen here. So we are going to add our own traffic light phases to this. So we'll click add, and this gives gives us phase 1, and each of these little boxes relates to the road that it's next to. So I tend to sort of square that off, which makes it look a little bit better. So this is for this road up here, this is for coming in this direction, and this box is for coming in this direction here. So for phase 1, what do we want to do? We want to let, what should we do first? Let's do a pedestrian only phase first of all. So we're going to do prioritize pedestrian, although we'll come back to that box in a moment. We're going to say, I want pedestrian crossing there. You can see the green light goes on. We're going to have pedestrian crossing there, and we're going to have pedestrian crossing there. I believe, talking to BruceyBoy, that this one here should be related to the median. That's what the line underneath is for. At the minute, it seems to do the one after the median. So this may change. Hopefully this will become the one for the median, because obviously we've got trams there. So it will be good to have maybe the tram going through, but not the crossing, or vice versa, or whatever. But we can see how it works at the moment. So, and we're going to do the same for here. There we go, both sides of the median. So this is going to be our pedestrian only phase. Maybe having the option to name these might be interesting, but as it stands at the moment, this is phase 1. Very good. So we're going to tick that. That is our phase added. So we're going to add another phase. This is phase 2. So what we're going to have on this phase. So I'm going to go with the cars going straight through phase first of all. So let's start over here. So we're going to have cars going straight on. We could also have cars turning right, because they're not going to get in each other's way at all. And if this was a dedicated right-hand lane, which I haven't adjusted it, so it isn't, but in this case, that would just keep everything flowing through, and that's fine. We could also have cars going straight on from here as well, because they're not going to get in anybody's way, so that's fine. We'll do that one. We could also have our trams going straight through, because nothing's going to get in their way. And this is nice and clean, nothing in each other's way. You might think, well, I want cars turning here as well. So let's click this one, which relates to the left-hand turn, and you can see it crosses over. So now we're sort of encroaching into how the vanilla traffic lights work. I wouldn't want to do that in this phase. So I'm going to just turn that. Well, we've got a blue option here, which is yield. So my understanding is what that would do is anybody in here that wanted to come and turn into this top road would try, but they would yield to anything they cross over. So if there was a tram coming, they would stop. And if they got to here and there were cars going, they would stop. When it was clear, they would go. You may want to use that as an option. What I would see happening perhaps if I did that and this was a busy junction is it could just then block this lane, because they could get stuck here and there's cars behind that wish to go straight on. We might change our minds if that was a dedicated left coming down here, but in this instance, I'm not going to do that. So we're going to turn that one back to red, and you can see the blue line disappears. You could turn on, you've got this one here, which is the U-turns. I don't want people doing U-turns there. We could have a look here. I don't want people doing U-turns there. That's going to get in each other's way. I also don't want any crossing. So I've clicked this one on. It comes on down the bottom here because there's cars going. They're going to get in each other's way. The same for the top one. I'm not going to do that one either. So I think that would be our second phase. That would work really well. Very good. So we'll tick that one. We'll add that one. Let's put in a third phase. So now I'm going to prioritize cars coming down here and turning, I would say. So let's start with that one. So we're going to do the left-hand turn first of all. And of course, anybody turning left here, we could still have straight on because they're not getting in each other's way. And then if we look at the way this road works, I would say we can't have straight on because they're going to cut across. So we'll turn those off. We couldn't even have rights because this has only got one lane going in, and anybody turning right here would merge with people coming left there. Again, you can choose. This is the brilliant thing about this. It might be this is not too busy and there's not many cars coming down this road and turning right, coming down here and turning left, and you might want to do both at once. But in this instance, I'm going to say no. We're just going to leave it like that. Now, what we could do is we can start letting some pedestrians cross, because this one here isn't getting messed with, is it? So it's that one there. They can cross all the way to here. They won't do the last section, which at the minute is controlled by this one. So we'll turn that one off. We don't want anybody crossing here. They're going to cross this section. We could have them cross that last section, which is going to be this one again. So maybe that means after the median. I'm not sure. But anyway. Yes, so that'll be fine. So we can have some pedestrian crossing. So if they're crossing from this side, they will wait here and not cross. And if they're already here, they'll go across. And then soon it'll come back around to the pedestrian phase and they'd be able to go unless we do anything a bit different. So that's quite good. So let's save that one. So what we can do is we can have a look at each of these. So we've got dedicated pedestrian phase. We've got everybody going on here with no pedestrians because there's all sorts of stuff going across the road, so that's good. And we've allowed right-hand turns here. And then this last one, we've basically, that's the only one where the left hand goes. In this situation, the straight on can go as well. I think that's probably it. I mean, you could add a dedicated tram phase in the middle here if you wanted to. So we could add another one and just say, all we're going to do for this one is tram. We're going to allow crossing on the outsides. There we go. And we're going to allow crossing on the outsides. So you might want to do something like that. We'll tick that one. So you're going to have no trams, no trams, trams. So maybe that's a good one. And you get 2 options for pedestrians to go. That's, you know, maybe you could try that. And then if we click back on this little symbol here, as you can see, it gives you this up and down option. So we can change the order. So let's just do it with the top one. I'm going to move that one down. So that now becomes phase 2. And we can see that one is all the crossing and stuff. This one's the pedestrian one. So that's another little option you've got there. We'll move that up and that's fine. You also get a little trash bin. You can delete it as well. So that's like a basic setup of what we've got. So if we just play that, we'll see that going through. So there we go, pedestrians. They didn't get all the way across, so just keep that in mind and we'll come back to that. So let's just keep an eye on that. So trams are going through, cars are stopping, everything is working quite well. Not a very busy junction, so maybe the dedicated pedestrian is okay as it is without changing it. But no, there's some people crossing again on the left. They got stuck there. Okay, well, let's just pause the game a second and let's see what we can do about that. Let's have a look at our phase 1. So we'll click the options button. So now we're coming into our adjustment section down here. Let's maybe pick phase 2 as a better option because the first one there is just pedestrians. Okay, so we can see the first 2 here are basically setting a minimum duration, which is defaulting at 2 seconds. We can change that with this option here. We can reset it with the last option. There we go. Or we can type it in manually here. And I think you could probably do, no, you can't do points. So you can just type in full numbers there, or you press enter, it goes back to whatever it was set at before. So there we go. We've got the same with the maximum duration. So for this phase, it's going to run for 2 seconds, whatever happens, but it could alternatively run for 300 seconds. What would make it decide to do that? Well, there's a load of rules that maybe sort of run in the background, but once the timer starts on this phase, it will run for 2 seconds. If there's no traffic, it will then switch. If there's still traffic, it will keep going until it hits 300 seconds. Then it says enough's enough. We're going to stop on that phase. The beauty of that is if you get a really busy, let's just say this direction at the top here was super busy, we might want to have a phase that prioritizes these cars going through, that they have a much higher maximum duration than maybe another phase where the traffic is going through. So you've got that sort of adjustment. Sorry, let me just say that again. We'd have a higher minimum duration. So the traffic's really bad coming through this one at the top here, and we're going to say, just run that for 25 seconds, whatever happens, get all those cars through, and then think about it for whether you need to continue for the maximum duration. So that is how those two work. And that's where this target duration multiplier comes in as well. I'm just going to read you what BruceyBoy has said about this. I haven't played about with this too much on this junction, but basically, if the timer that is running in the background for your phase that's going through is smaller than the target duration got here, which at the minute is set at 1 times, can be run all the way up to 10 times. So if the timer is smaller than the target duration, the game says the traffic is still flowing well, keep the light green. If the timer, so these here, is larger than the target duration, it will say the traffic has cleared, we'll now start a countdown to change to the next phase. And then after 3 ticks above the target duration multiplier, okay, it's time to switch to the next phase. So it just gives you that extra information to help you with the duration, minimum and maximum. But what about these two down here? Well, these are slightly more complicated. So at the moment, our phases are linked. We can see it says here linked phase. So these will run through, if we speed the game up, they will run through in order. We can see it's highlighted. It's then going to change to, have I fiddled with any of these? We're just stopping it changing. Let's just tick that. There we go. We can see it's going through the phases in order. Actually, it's jumping 1, 4, 2, 1, 2, 1. So that's interesting. I've just noticed something. Yeah, I'd accidentally set phase 2 as 0 on the minimum duration. I think if we run that again, it now should just go through in order. It's not. So something here yeah, I think what's happening is a pedestrian's coming here, so they're going to get through. Yeah, because I tick prioritize pedestrian. So these are going to go through until a pedestrian appears. Then it's jumping back again. I'm not quite sure why it's jumping around. Now that is interesting. Let's just pause that there. These other rules that we have can make a difference on the order that these go in. So that is unlinked, that is unlinked, and that is unlinked. So if they were linked, what I was told was they would go in order. If they're unlinked, then it depends on the options you've set up here and these two rules down here. Okay, I've just been watching this for a few minutes. It seems to me that it's clever enough to see if there's any traffic building up in a certain direction and it will pick that. And it looks to me like it prioritizes phase 1. So it always defaults back to phase 1. And then it will decide what to do next, depending on what's happening in the junction. So if we just slow this down a minute. So at the minute it's phase 1, like we've said. What's going to come next? Any cars or any pedestrians or maybe a tram? Okay, so cars have come from up here. So let's see. Right, so now it's gone to phase 2, which we can see that's what's on the screen at the moment. Then it's going to go back to phase 1. There we go. Now trams come in. I think that'll be phase 3. Let's just see what happens. Oh, 4, sorry. There we go. That's the tram 1. So now it's picked that. Now our cars come down here. So that'll be phase 3, won't it? There. Right, that makes sense. So by default, it is going to be aware of the traffic that's around it and do the best it can to pick the right phase. I've got it. Okay, excellent. That makes perfect sense. And I think that is the way that you would want your custom traffic lights to go, to have a little bit of intelligence built around what you've set up as your phases. Excellent. Okay, well, let's have a look at these then. So if I tick... so these are a test at the moment, but I'm going to tick prioritize pedestrian on this one. This one here has got trams. We don't really need to prioritize anything on these because the way they're set up, I think we're okay. But as we mentioned, all of these are linked together. Now you can unlink these phases. So just left click on these and unlink them, or you can just have one that's unlinked. And now these will start to work based on some of the other rules that you set. So let's just have a look at those. So looking at these last 3, we've already mentioned the target duration multiplier, but basically this one, as we mentioned before, calculates the green light duration. So we've seen that one. This one here looks at how occupied a lane is. So if it's got more cars, if it's busier, it decides which phase goes next. So you can add weight to that with the multiplier that we've got here. And then this last one here decides when to switch to another phase. Again, you can add weight or time to that too. So that's what these last ones do. You've also got lots of statistics down there about what's happening on your junction. So if you speed things up a little bit, and we'll go back. Oh no, here we go. So we can see that on there. We can see which lanes are occupied, how it's making the decision. We can see the timer counting down, the different priorities that are adding to the junction. So that's what this does here. So for instance, if you tick prioritize track, then trains have a priority of 110. 100 is the baseline priority. So they would get 110 priority. If you turn it off, it goes back to 100, exactly the same as cars. If you prioritize public cars, then trams and buses, which is what it means by public car, gets the priority of 104, or if it's off, it's 100. And pedestrians, if you have that one ticked, it gives the priority of 104 for pedestrians. And if it's unticked, it's back to 100 again. So that information is used when it's deciding when to split the phasing. So again, a little bit more of a tweak that you can add to that, which is quite good. So what you can see happening at the moment is I haven't got any of these linked, and it's not using the tools that we've got built in to make any changes. If I just link these all together again, there we go. It's going to start jumping around the phases and things will start working properly. Excellent. So we've learned a lot there. I'm waiting for this one to go and to realize how many cars are in that one. Why are they not going? I think I might have clicked a button somewhere and messed something up. One sec. Okay, there we go. It sorted itself out, which is good. I did actually realize that I forgot to add all of these into a phase. So we could just quickly do that so we don't mess anything up. So that's our pedestrian phase. That's the phase everybody crossing over, turning in. So we don't want cars coming out then. This is a phase where people are turning that way. So we could, I'm just going to swing this around to make it a little bit easier. we could have right-hand turns here, couldn't we? Because that'll be fine. So we've got to remember to add left-hand turns in. So let's do that for that phase. Because if we did left, it would cross over. So we'll turn that one off. That means that we don't want the crossing here now, do we? So we'll turn that crossing off there. Excellent. Save that one. Phase 4, so that's just the tram. So we could actually have, no, we can't have left-hand turns, can we? We could have right-hand turns still, because that's not getting in the way. And we could also have, oh no, we're doing pedestrians and trams there, aren't we? No, I'll take that one off. That's fine. There we go. We'll leave it like that. So we do actually need another phase in here. So I'm going to add another phase in. This is going to be the left-hand turn from up here. So we could have, wasn't that one? We could have crossing there and crossing here. Actually, that's fine. We could have crossing down, I don't know which one it is, this one here. That can go up. We can't have any turns there because that's going to cross over. We can't have straight ons. We could have right-hand turns here. That means we turn off the crossings. Yeah, that'll be good. And then no trams through the middle. And then what I'm going to do is move that one up to phase 4. So let's save that. So that actually now, let's just spin it back around this way, should work much better. And it will let all these cars out here that have been sat there for ages. And I'm really sorry about that. But when it gets to the phase, there we go. So they're saying, yeah, we've just noticed there's a load of people waiting to go. So that will go through. Right, now we want to take all of this knowledge and we want to put this into this gargantuan mess down here. Wow, this is going to be a challenge. Right, so there's a couple of things I've changed. So we used to have that problem with the tram, if you've been watching previous videos, where the purple line would come up to here and reverse back out again. And I figured out why it's doing that. So like any vehicle like that, trams, trains, whatever, they need to go back for maintenance from time to time. And my tram depot is here. So they would come out, they would go underground, cut through, join back into here. And then the first stop for them is all the way back round here. And the only way they could get to it was by going up, reversing back down again. So what I've done is I've deleted that line and I put the first stop round here to the right. So now they do the loop all the way around as it's supposed to be. Before the really bad traffic of the day hits over there, I'm going to do this one here because it's already started to build up here and it's going all the way back down here, causing all sorts of issues. So let's just have a look at this one. So what I'm going to do first, let's just make sure that this is set to split phasing, yeah, because we were looking at this at the beginning, weren't we? So that's fine. So let me just leave that as it is. What I am going to do is look at some of the lanes. So down here, we've got lanes that are doing more than one thing. We've got dedicated lanes there, I think. There's a lot of people wanting to turn right, so we could change that. Not so many going left. Yeah, so let's just do a little bit of work with the lanes first. So we're going to use the traffic mod for that with the lane connection tool. And this is one of those things, you might do some tweaks, then you might want to change it again later, but we'll see. So I'm going to remove U-turns, I'm going to remove unsafe, and that will give us a nice little basis to go on. So this one here is a dedicated turn. I am also going to make that one straight over, I think. Then this one, let me see. That one does straight over along with that one. So where are they going? Yeah, so I don't want that one there. So we'll take that one out. So Hugo there for the straight on. So that's using those two lanes. Anybody wants to go left, they can do that. And then we've got that as a left turn from here. I said left instead of right, didn't I? I'm looking at it at a weird angle. That's why. So yeah, Hugo there straight on, you go there straight on, you go there right if you want it, and then Hugo there left, you go there left. So that's some dedicated with a bit of brain added to that one. This one looking up here, we've got a dedicated left, and then we've got a straight on and a left. So what I'm going to do here, I might just do a complete dedicated lane on each of these. So not that one, but Hugo there. So we've got, that's just left, that's just straight on. You don't go there, but you go right. So that's dedicated right. This one's got dedicated on each. That's the one we've just done. So, oh, we haven't done this bottom one here. I might just do the same on that as well and just do complete dedicated. I'm going to take away the left. And I'm going to give this one Hugo there. So that takes both the lanes. That's going to go straight on. And then the right, sometimes I find it best if it's crossing over the traffic, give it a dedicated lane. If it isn't, it's okay to sort of mix it. And that's the general sort of base that I would go from. And then that can help. So on split phasing, actually, that might help with the traffic. Let's just click on that and watch what's going on. So I want to see this go down quite quickly with a lot of people going through. So now they can use both lanes. That's good, and they can get through that. And you can see, look, most of the queue is from people wanting to come down here and turn left to go up there. And then we've got a pedestrian phase. So it might be that that's enough for this junction. Let's just keep an eye on it this way for a few seconds. So that's split phasing with, or what else do we add on there? Let's just double check. So split phasing with an exclusive pedestrian phase, and there are a lot of people trying to cross, which is good. Shall we allow turning on red as well? So that adds, yeah, it's like the yield option that we saw before. As long as no one else is in the way, they will go. And that actually might help to get through some traffic as well a little bit quicker. Yeah, okay, let's do that. And we'll just keep an eye on all of that traffic that's going down there. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's moving. I'm just spotting something over in the distance down here. So a traffic light and a crossing's been added here. I don't want that in there. So we're going to remove that. I don't know why that's been added back in again. So we get rid of that, and then we'll get rid of that traffic light as well. So people would all flow all the way up. That's fine. This has to be a dedicated lane. If it isn't, I'm going to be spitting me chips. It isn't. Actually, not that mod. It's this one. So lane connector tool. There we go. That's what we want. So I don't want that going up there. I want you dedicated off like that, and then this one can take both. Yep, that's fine. That one takes that one. Remove U-turns, remove unsafe. So this, we've got a right on here, which does cut across, so that's why we've got the traffic light, isn't it? They could go down to the roundabout and come back up again, which I think is a much better idea. So we're going to remove that and say, you go there straight on, definitely better. And then we can just remove that traffic light. We don't need it. Yep, there we go. Excellent. So hopefully that works a lot better for this bit and just keeps them moving up. I don't know why they're stopping there and not... Oh, okay. It's because they want to go straight on, because I changed it. Now they're thinking about it. Okay, that's good. What perhaps would be even better was to change this road to have 3 going straight on and a separate lane for coming off, but we'll leave it like that for now. Okay, so we can see that this is still struggling. They're not getting many cars going through. So what I would do in this case is now I would jump into the custom phases. Okay, so we're back, custom phase editor. So this means I need to do the entire thing. What I have just mentioned to BruceyBoy, if they're sort of getting a list together for things, what could be quite good is have a couple of base ones that you could tweak. So say vanilla and split phasing. You come in here, click a button, start off with vanilla, start off with split phasing, which you can then tweak. But at the moment, you know, there's probably like a huge list of 100 things we'd all like in this mod, but you know, there's only one BruceyBoy working on it at the moment, so we'll just be patient and be happy with what we get. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to do this as a, we're going to have the first one. Let's just start on the first one here. This is going to be, I'm not going to tick any of these, but this is going to be a pedestrian only phase, which I think might start becoming my habit as what I do. I'm not going to increase any of this, and we're going to keep it as it is. That'll be good. My next phase, well, I think what I'm going to do is do a bit of a time lapse here and work my way around, setting all these up as I want them, and then we'll see how it is at the end. Okay, I think I've got it all sorted. So we've got pedestrian first of all. We've then got all the straight on and rights from both directions, north and south, I'm going to say. Then we've got the lefts. Then we've got the straight on and rights, east and west. Then we've got the left. So we've got protected left turnings here, which I think is going to work quite well. So we could just then run that and keep an eye on what's happening, and then we can adjust our timers. I'm particularly going to want to adjust my timers here. So yeah, there we go. That's good. Nobody getting in each other's way. Quick switching. So this is the one. Yeah, I'm definitely going to want to change that one. So that was that 5? Yeah, 5. We're going to minimum duration. I mean, I'm going to put that up to like 10, I think would be good. And then we'll see how that goes. And then this one up here, yeah, look, we can see that's pretty busy as well. So that was this one going straight on. Let's pop that up to 10. I just love this sort of stuff. This is This is good. This is good. So where were we? We were up to... oh, I think it's just going to go back to running them from the beginning. Okay, that's fine. Or running... It's going to run from where they were. Yeah, I'm just looking at this. Let's tick that. There we go. We can see what's going on. So this might be where you then start changing the lane. So we've got a lane here that's doing straight on and left... Is it? Oh, it is. Yeah, I don't think I meant to set that. Well, this will be a good test. Can I change it? Let's save that after the fact. So, lane connector tool. There we go. That's what I wanted. So this one here, I don't want that doing left. So don't do that. You've got one lane there. You've got one lane there. Yeah, I must have missed that. So hopefully now the traffic light will automatically take that into consideration. So let's run this at 3 speed because I want 2 lanes of straight on from up here. I'll tell you what's going to happen at first. You're going to have some that have already decided they want to turn, so they need to get through first. So once it's gone through a run of the lights, hopefully we'll be okay. Let's just see what's happening. I'm just looking at the bikes, holding people up in random places. There we go. Okay, yeah, it's working. I think once this crowd of bikes has gone through, it'll be a lot better. Let's just leave this running for a second or two and just make sure I've not missed anything. There we go. All those bikes have moved out of the way. That's good. So now both of these lanes are going to be used for straight on. That does happen. Don't forget, you know, when a car sets off on a journey, it will work out the route that it wants to go. And then suddenly in the middle of its journey, you're like deleting roads and adding traffic lights and tweaking things. You know, they're already in the lane that they want to take. So yeah, this is where things are heating up a bit because I'm going to pause here. Let's save that. This traffic up here is getting pretty bad. So it's stopping the lights running properly. So we're getting cars that are cutting across here, which are backing up down to there. They could just go straight up, which will be much better than cutting through there. So if we just turn that mod off and do this one, obviously we could use the vanilla tools for this, but I'm going to turn off U-turns and we're going to say you are not going to cut across there. So you go straight on, you go there, you go there. We've also got people cutting across, which... I mean, if they're coming out there, they could just go around the other way, to be honest, if they don't want to go through there. So I think that's probably a better... Let's remove unsafe. So, yeah, this bike lane, basically, his option is up there. So what I'm thinking is we make this a one-way road. It is a one-way road. Oh, we've got one, and we've got a bike lane on the other side of the road. Okay, that's what's causing the problem. So we're going to take off that one. There we go. And that should be okay. It's a one-way road with bike lanes going in both directions. That's never good. So they could go straight on. They could go through to here, which makes sense. Yeah, that's better. So we should then not have anybody crossing over. And we do have a... There we go. Look, that keeps all that free. They can go up there. They can go around the roundabout. So then, now when we're watching this, that traffic from at the back there should go through much better. Let's just keep on the old traffic light thing because I like watching that, and just keep an eye on everybody coming from up this direction. Yeah, I mean, we're getting some going through. We've got to be careful because the longer we leave this one running and this one, the less chance the other two have. But I think once this clears up a little bit, we're going to be okay. So let's come back to that one and let's have a look at this one up here as well, because you can see this is all backing up, all sorts of hawky-balky nonsense going on here. So first of all, I'm going to just save that one so we don't lose it. So first of all, I mean, we've got a breakdown here. That's sort of out of our control. We've got people doing U-turns here, which I really don't want. They can go up and use this roundabout up here. So that would be much better. We've got crossing over a junction here as well, which isn't great. So I'm going to take those two things out, which means actually we've got an extra lane here that isn't going to be used, which is a little bit annoying. This is only 2 lanes going up here, isn't it? This is 3 lanes and 3 lanes. So we might just having a look what's going on here. So we've got 3 lanes coming up. One of those could be, that is a return, and 2 lanes. So this actually only needs to be 2 lanes here. So let's just do that. And then we're going to, hopefully, I've saved my game, so we're not going to have any problems. I'm going to use the road builder. We're just going to use that as a template. And I'm just going to remove, I don't know which way this is. I'm assuming it's going to be one of these ones here. I'm going to remove that one. Nope, that was the wrong side. Let me put that back in and we'll remove the other one. There we go. So that's 2 lanes in either direction. And we can just sort of save that. I'm not going to bother changing the name. Let's come out of that. Excellent. And then we'll go into the lane connector tool and we'll do this again. U-turns, unsafe. What is going on there? What is... Oh, I put the lanes facing the wrong direction here. 1 second. There we go. We just change this one so it goes forward. There we go. Now everybody's happy. That's good. And then we'll just grab this. There we go. And that's fine. So it's all straight on, no hawky-walky weird turnings and things like that. Good. Here we also seem to have a lane that isn't hooked up. There we go. It is now. Good. And then here, I'm going to do the same as well. There we go. It's still giving us the unsafe left turn. So I'm going to just turn that one off so they don't cut across there. And I'm going to turn that one off so they don't cut across there. So they can get out onto this road. They can head down to the roundabout. That's fine. So that should be much better for this section. And that should just keep all of this flowing much, much better. I'm then also going to do a dedicated turn here. So that's not going to go straight on. This one's going to take those two, or to be honest, we could leave that like that, and that means anybody coming out, it can be super quick. What is this? Oh, it's the cemetery. That is not the busiest place on earth for traffic, so I'm going to do that and we'll see how it goes. We've got a traffic light crossing there. I might just keep that. And then down here, yeah, so we've got a lot of lane stuff going on here. So let's just check out what's going on here. Woo, my brain, there's a lot going on here. So I'm going to remove U-turns. We don't want U-turns. I'm going to remove unsafe. There we go. We know that if they need to turn around, there's a roundabout there. There's a roundabout there. So we're not causing huge concerns by doing that. So let's just double check. So this one here is turning and going straight on. I don't see that as a problem as that's not that busy. This one is going all the way over here and going straight on. I think we're going to turn off the straight on for there and say Hugo there instead. So we've got two straight ons, a dedicated left. As I said again, if it's cutting across traffic, I always go with a dedicated left. Let's look at this one. So that is a dedicated left cutting across the traffic. That's a straight on. That's a straight on. It's not doing a right as well. So we want that in there. I think because it's such a sharp turn, the game saw it as a dangerous one and removed it. But I think we'll go with those. This one here, so we do have, yeah, going left. So I'm going to stop that going straight on. I'm going to have Hugo there. So that one's going to take those two. That's a dedicated left. And this one over here we've already done. So really it's only those three. That is a one-way road in. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So that will probably help anyway. So it might just be, if we back out of that split phasing on here and exclusive pedestrian phase. We've got no crossings there. We've got crossings here. Let's just try a standard split phasing and just see how that goes. I mean, eventually, look, the police car's there, so they're going to deal with the all the crashes. This is nonsense. What are you doing? Let's save that and come out of that one. Let's go back into here. Why are you doing that? Is it because you could do a U-turn before, now you can't, so you're just like freaking out? I think that's what it is, and then eventually they'll stop doing it once these have all gone past. I don't think any more will do it. We'll keep an eye on that. No, they don't. Please don't. Please don't. That's ridiculous. I'm also going to add a crossing in there, but these are all going to be controlled by the same lights, and that just seems like it's going to work a lot better. Okay, I just want to keep an eye on this idioticness here. Also here, this is like 2 lanes going down to 1, going back to 2 because we've got that road coming off, which is not being used much. So actually, I'm just going to adjust this one to go straight on as well, and then we're going to make sure that one doesn't do both. There we go. So we get that there, then it carries on, then we're into the all of that. Yeah, okay. I'm just going to run this for a minute and just make sure that these boneheads aren't just going to keep doing this for some random reason. I mean, I'm hoping that behaviour's going to stop because they shouldn't be. That might have just been there was so much traffic there that they're doing it still. What is the... Why? Okay, that might be... Don't forget, I'm using mods. I can see you typing in the comments, this is why City Skylines 2 sucks so much. I'm using mods. Sometimes when you're putting together road builder, lane connector tool, traffic light, you're messing with stuff. So what I'm thinking here is I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this segment and I'm going to just redraw it in and see if that solves the problem. Yeah, do you know what it was? There was a teeny tiny hidden segment in there which I could only solve by just sort of bending this road back a little bit, redrawing it and all of that sort of thing. So that shouldn't be an issue anymore. We do have traffic lights there, which I don't want. Let's just remove that. Oh, that was for the crossings, wasn't it? Or maybe, yeah, let's put those back in, actually. There we go. You can have vanilla crossing so you don't get squished while you're crossing the road. Right, okay, excellent. So that is going to help with that. So let's see what's happening back down here then. This is the important thing, to make sure we haven't missed anything and everything's working. So standard split phasing, I don't think is going to cut it, because as you can see, this is going really slowly, and this is where all the traffic is just like building up from. Let's just wait until it comes round again. So there's all sorts of hawky-walky lane switching. There is people turning left and going straight on. Yeah, I think we're gonna change this a bit. I might even stop right-hand turns there and say go up to the roundabout and come back in again. I just think we just need to keep this traffic moving. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to come out of that. We're going to go into here and we're going to say, you do not go there. You go straight on, which means you don't need to do both, which you're not anyway. Oh, hang on. Do I need to click it correctly? There we go. That's good. So that will just keep moving, keep going straight on. And if they want to get down here, they can go around the roundabout, back again. Excellent, which actually even just doing that might help. So let's just watch the split phasing on here for a moment. Don't forget, we're going to get some cars that have made the decision to do that, and we've just taken away their right as a driver to turn right at that junction, so they're all going to freak out for a bit. But yeah, maybe sip a tea during this time lapse and relax. Yeah, I just don't think split phasing is going to cut the mustard here. We just want to keep these cars moving as much as possible, and it is a semi-complicated junction, so we're going to have to go for another custom setup. Oh, excellent. That is just what I want to see, so let's do that. Okay, let's go with that as a start. So we've got no first pedestrian phase, but we've got straight on and right. Well, we don't have a right there. This one, then we've got this road going both out, left and right, because they're not crossing over. That's fine. There's nothing else that can go at the same time, is there? No. Then this one is the tram, so that will just come through on its own. And then the final phase is the left-hand turn. So we could see how that works. So if we just go back, there we go, we'll get the green lines. So actually, before we even go any further, I want this one, phase one. Yeah, there we go. I want this to just run a lot more. So I'm going to go like 20 seconds on that as a minimum and just see how that goes. What is the maximum we can do? 30 seconds? Let's do 30 till it clears out, and then we'll go back and we can always adjust it when it's not so bad. So nobody's going. Thanks. I'll tell you what it is there's still cars that want to turn right and they're not allowed to do it. So we'll just run through these phases a second, then it will all kick in, I'm sure. You just beware, there's a teeny tiny bug at the moment. I've reported it, but if you had any cars that had already decided way back here that they were going to come down here and do a turn that you're now not allowing, they will get all the way up to the light and they will just sort of freeze and they don't know what to do. Eventually the game does have despawning built in if everything's at a complete standstill, and they will disappear and then the other cars will come through. Or what you can do, you can just check. So what I did is I went into the car, clicked that tool. So these are all going straight on, so that's absolutely fine. There were a couple in front that wanted to do otherwise. And yeah, I showed them I meant business by using this option here and just, we'll show you on this car, deleting them just to keep things going. But as I said, you could just let the game keep running and yeah, eventually it would kick in. So let's just keep an eye on all of this and see how much our custom phase makes a difference and whether it needs more tweaking. Okay, so what I've had to do is actually allow these cars coming from this section to do a right, because so many just wanted to and they weren't going to go up to the roundabout and back again. So that's better, but it just means that, look, as you can see, the cyclists here like this now are getting in the way when the cars want to turn, which is a bit annoying because at the minute there's no option to have the cyclists set on a phase as separate from cars, so they're just going to continue getting in each other's way. But it's helped. Look, you can see that. Oh, that's an auto save. We'll have a quick sip of tea. So you can see even with that sort of little problem there, the traffic is going down. Look, it's come through here a lot quicker. It's going down there a lot quicker. So as it stands, that custom phase works much better. Hopefully we'll get bikes added as a separate option. in our phase editor in here would be good. But until then, this is what we've got to go with. And then coming further down the road to this custom junction, again, we can see the traffic is not backed up anywhere near as bad as it was before. So having this one on a longer phase is definitely working. And they're using all the lanes as well because of the dedicated lanes and things we've got. So that is really good. Let's look this way. So this is taking quite a while. I think this was on a longer phase, wasn't it? Let's just let that run through and remind ourselves which phase it was. Phase 2 it's jumped to. 10 seconds. Let's just up that to like 30 seconds as well. And even though we do that, hang on, I'm just thinking, let's not go overboard. Let's do 20. There we go. And just try and get more coming through. And then hopefully we'll just keep our eye on this for a second and just see if this can all go down and this can clear as well. Oh, there we go. A couple of little lane tweaks. I don't think I'd added onto this left turn coming out of here the extra time. I might have forgot to do that or didn't tick it to save it. So I've added that in. I've made sure these are all dedicated lanes where they need to be. And it has been working really, really well. I mean, it backs up to that little junction there. But I think once the lights change, that should all go through quite quickly. There we go, not too bad. I think some of the cars are deciding to change their minds as to which lanes they're going to go. And this one here doesn't really get much further than that little junction there, which is good enough for me. And then just up the road here, this big old junction is working fantastically. This is all clear. This is all clear. And I think, yeah, I just absolutely love this mod. So there'll be a link below so you can try this mod out for yourself. And thank you very much to BruceyBoy for all your hard work in keeping this mod alive and all the new exciting things coming soon. Thank you so much to all of the patrons. You can see their names scrolling up the screen right now. That really does mean a lot to me that you're happy to support me in that way. And for everybody else as well, subscribe if you're new here. Leave a like on the video too. And I will see you all very soon for either a Kettlewick or another Teasmania. Have a great week. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.